The vow, a commitment, a promise, an oath, a covenant that we make with the intent or with commitment of fulfilling it. In the moment of making a vow, most of the time we are very sure we are going to do what we said that we will do. But what happens? After some time, people don't even remember their vow. Hi, my name is Emily. Thank you so much for watching this, and if this is an area you're interested in, keep watching. In this video, we're going to explore more about the vow, the implications, the beauty, and the ugly. So, the last time you made a promise, an oath, or even a covenant to somebody, how did you feel? Did you note that most of the time when we make promises of vow, there are symbols, or we symbolize the whole promise? I'll give you an example. You'll find that when people are making a marriage vow, they put on a wedding band. When people are making maybe formal vows, many times we sign, or you will have someone say, literally swear or use words, say, I promise you, by this day, at this time, this and this will be available. Now, when you make that vow, or the times you have made the vows, you notice that the person you've made the vow to is optimistic, they are hopeful, they believe you, and they feel like you have solved a certain problem of theirs, you've given them security. Last time someone made a promise or a vow to me, I thought I was secure, I had hope, I was confident, I thought my problem is half solved, like it's done. Imagine when someone promises a widow that they are going to pay school fees for their children when they've lost their husband. Time passes and the children are not going to school. What happens? That lady keeps saying, that man said, and the children are like, that guy promised us school fees and is nowhere. And what happens? When you make a vow to somebody, you have made a personal date. It's like you have a date that you have to fulfill, and then your name is on the line, or your character is on the line, because if you fulfill that vow, then you get a positive. If you don't fulfill it, you get a negative. And people keep saying that that person never does what they say they will do, or that person always, that man is a man of his word, and which is a positive on your side. However, I want to take this a notch further. When you look at the types of vows we make personal vows, we make vows to God, and then we have the marriage vow, the famous vow that everyone knows and many people will dread or run away from, and they say it's just a formality. Now let me tell you something. When you make a vow, there are people who are there to witness, but even then, there are instances when you make a vow when you're by yourself physically, but in the spirit realm, the angels are present, your Lord is present. Let's discuss the types of vows. The vow we make to God. Many of us, actually almost every one of us, has made a vow. God, if you really exist, heal me and I'll do this for you. God, if you take me through this situation, I am going to serve you. God, if you give me this job, I'm going to give you my first salary. Lord, just save me today. I'm going to worship you all the days of my life. Only that when you're done, you forget, and unfortunately for you or for us, God says in Eccle'siaste 5:4, be slow to make a vow, because God does not pleasure in fools. God does not pleasure in fools. Quickly fulfill your vow. And in the next verse it says that be slow to make a vow lest it becomes a sin. So every time you open your mouth and you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, it might turn into a vow, because it's a broken promise. You have made a commitment and you have not fulfilled that commitment. And let me tell you, the scripture says everything you do to these little people, or the things you do to people, it is in service to God. You have done it to God. So we go to the promises we make to people. When we tell people, oh, now look at the business promises, I'm going to pay you the money on Tuesday, do this job and I'll pay you, then you don't pay people. Haven't you heard of instances where people are suffering, or children are suffering because their parent or grandparent did not pay a certain servant that they used to do work, and then, or they, such things, just to say that you're going to get this and then you don't get it, and that person cries. Every time that tear drops, it is upon you. So remember when we say that it is like a debt. Now you begin to sin, it becomes, and if you do it over and over, it becomes an iniquity that is going to be paid for by you and for the people and by the people that are going to come after you. Look at the promises we make to ourselves. Did you know that you actually make a vow to yourself? I have made vows to myself. How do we make vows to ourselves? Like the words we say to ourselves. I will never, now like me, I've told myself I have to be happy all my life. I tell myself I have to be well. I'm going to be rich. I don't want anything to discomfort me. If I can do anything about it, I will. I have told myself I'm going to work hard, I'm going to take care of my children, I'm going to be a good wife. That is the vow I've made to myself. And every time I fall short, I have disappointed myself. I feel like I've gone back on my own word. And that is how it is even when we make vows to other people. So what personal vows have you made to yourself, and how far are you in fulfilling them? What vows have you made to your spouse? How many vows have you made to people in the business world, in the community? Politicians, I just don't know. Every time you say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, when you vote me, I will do this. It's like a vow. That's why people will not vote such a person again. They say they do not fulfill. Or that's why you find that people get tired of a system that does not deliver as promised. That is the same reason why someone will run from brand to brand, saying I no longer buy from that place because they no longer do this. Because if you promise a certain quality of service and you do not fulfill, or you don't deliver as promised, you have broken the commitment or the vow that you made to your client. It goes all around like your whole life. But let's go also further and talk about the marriage vow. People are quick to get married because they have grown old, or it is the society's expectation for them, and then they stand there at the altar and say things like, all I have is yours, all I am I give to you, or that I'll be with you in sickness, in health, in good and in bad. 1 month into the marriage, they're doing weird things and they're saying, that is a formality. My dear, do you know anything? The most honorable institution ever, that is marriage, because it is the smallest cell of community, it is the smallest cell of God's creation. Angels and God in representation in the physical world, they are present, and they are looking, they are going to do or arrange for you everything. Every time you make a vow, basically in whatever area, the spirit world, if it is a good vow, will organize for you, put things for you in place, empower you to fulfill that vow. My dear, if you speak a negative vow, things like, for me I will never be rich, me this is my disease, I will always be like this, for us we don't have, for us we are lazy, for me where I come from, everything is organized for you. Enough from the negative. The devil will do everything they can for those things you say about you to always continue. You'll always have that disease, you'll always be poor, people will always reject you, sayings and abachi, enemy things are like that, things like are going to happen like that, they'll never change. People are like that, there are no good men in this world. For me, there is no marriage that is good, there are no children in this world that are like this. And let me tell you, those things are going to be organized for you to happen, because you have confessed them and you have believed them and you have taken them and you have hoped in them. And then remember also, the scripture says that the power of life and death belongs in your tongue. So as we go on, as we change life, I am just calling to you, go and read Matthew chapter 12 verse 36 and 37, which emphasizes that all the words that we speak we are going to be accountable for them. And those words are the ones which will be used to either acquit us or to condemn us on the day of judgment. So tame your tongue. As we go on the tips on keeping vows or on vowing, make sure when you're going to say something, you are sober. Don't be too excited. Don't be too high on something that you're making a statement that you don't even mean. You're not even sure what it means when you're making a vow. So tip number 1, be sober, be clear-headed. Tip number 2, I want you to know that you don't have to make a vow. So if you make it, be intentional and know it is a date. Tip number 3, ask for help, either from people, from God. For empowerment, go and read, enrich yourself. Get better, get empowered that your vow will be fulfilled. Number 4, when it comes to a vow, keep on checking on. If you made a vow to somebody, you say, I promise I will do this, and I've been trying to do this. How far? How am I doing? So evaluate yourself. You can evaluate yourself, let someone else evaluate you. Number 5, when it comes to keeping a vow, if you feel like you want to do something for somebody, you don't have to say it to them. You don't have to verbalize it. For example, if we go back to our issue, maybe you see someone who is suffering, and maybe you feel they need help. Instead of going to them and telling them, I'm going to be giving you food every month, I'm going to pay school fees for your children, you just keep doing that. Every month, take them food, so they don't have to look forward to you doing it. But for you, in your heart, you know that you will do it. There, you've not made a vow. So if a time comes and you have failed, you have failed. But the thing is, if you made a vow that you will do it, there is nothing like I have failed, because that person is looking to you as their source. Okay, tip number 6. When it comes to making a vow, always have a symbol, something to remind you. Maybe an agreement, a ring, as it is in marriage. It just symbolizes, for example, the ring in marriage just shows people that this person is taken. I am married and I'm not wearing my ring. Anyway, this person is taken, or even when you look at it, you're like, I have someone at home. I know it is in your heart, but that is also something that symbolizes. So don't be deceived that it is useless. It is important. So symbolize it either with the word. You can right now, like people who, if you make a vow to yourself, you can have a visionary board and you put in pictures or even in words the things you intend to have or to do for yourself. Pray about it. Pray about it. Pray about it. Pray about it. That you will have the resources, you will have the grace. It is there, it is sufficient, but you will take it on, that you will do it. Have faith. Have faith. Have faith. Have faith that you will do something. Have faith that you can do this. Have faith that you can stand. Have faith that what you have planned to do will work out. Have faith. And the last tip is control your tongue. Mind what you say. Keep positive. Keep believing. Keep making vows only if you intend to keep them. If you don't tend to keep your vow, don't make a vow. It's been nice discussing with you. I wish you could just share with me in the comment section on Facebook, Emily Kabasome on Facebook, or on Instagram, and then tell me, what are the vows that you have made to yourself? What are the vows that people have made to you? Have they kept them? Have they broken them? How has it affected you for real life, for the application, for people to understand how terrible this can be? It's been nice having you. Have a lovely time. Bye.